I live on Thompson Avenue, and about 8 years ago we started the Thompson Avenue Neighborhood Watch for the 500 and 600 block. And what that is, that's through the police department. I inquired about that. We wanted to know who our neighbors were. We wanted to make our area a safer place. I was born and raised in Roselle, went through public schools and everything, so I've been here a while. And I see some of my neighbors here now. What we do is we just watch out for each other. And I know some people approached me about that they would like to start one up on their street, their block, their area. I think we're one of the only active ones in Roselle, which is surprising to me, because we have a great time. We know all our neighbors for 2 blocks. We have garage sales, we have barbecues, we block off the street, we have a whole block party. We have kids running around in the streets, and it's nice to know who your neighbors are, to say hello in passing, and that's the kind of neighborhood that I wanted to raise my children in. Like I said, I grew up in Roselle, and we didn't really know anybody on our street at all, just a few people, and you really want to know who you live with. You never know who you live with. But if you start your own neighborhood watch, hopefully you come to know who lives in your area. It also helps to maybe lower crime in your area. We've actually stopped a few burglaries, which were in process, just by helping each other and knowing who lives in the house and knowing that somebody that looks like that's not supposed to be going near their window and calling the police. And we were able to actually apprehend 2 different suspects that were about to break into someone's house in our neighborhood watch area. So hopefully you will start one in your area. I'm going to turn the mic over to my husband Mark tonight. He's going to be moderating the evening. He'll give you some brief rules of what will be happening. Thank you.
All right, first of all, I want to commend everyone here who made it here tonight. This shows that you're concerned. The main thing to focus for tonight to understand is we need the respect factor in here. We are all adults and professionals in this room. Keep in mind, I am the moderator. I'm not a bully, but I am strict, meaning that we must stay strict to the rules so it does not get out of hand. We have 2 microphones. The way that the night will work, just so that everybody understands the procedure. We have the random cards. They're addressed to Mr. Aubourg and Mr. Moore, and basically they will each get a turn to answer questions addressed to them. Just a lot of time, I have my phone right here with a stopwatch. They will get 2 minutes to respond. And in return, the other candidate who the question was not addressed to will be allowed to respond in rebuttal, or just to respond with 1 minute's time. At the end of that, then we will cut that short and we'll move on to the next question. Are there any questions right now? And just please, if you have your cell phones, if you can, just put it on either vibrate or silent. Or if you don't know how to do that, just turn it off. But for the most part, hopefully everybody's comfortable enough with the fan. And without any further ado, first of all, please welcome Mr. Aubourg and Mr. Moore. Round of applause for them, please, for attending tonight. Okay, and we'll do this the fair way. Fair way, we toss a coin. So who'd like to call it? So that's the first question. Heads, tails. Okay, Yves takes tails, Mr. Aubourg. It's heads. So first question to Mr. Moore. Okay. Reverend Moore. Your literature stated you are going to freeze taxes for 2 years. Please tell how you propose to accomplish this task, as well as fiscal stability and economic growth to our borough.
Thank you very much. As a former Board of Education president of the Roselle Board, I served for approximately 11+ years. During my tenure as a president, I was able to convince our board as well as the public to accept and to pass a budget with no tax increase. We did that 2 years in a row. to propose to have a 2-year local tax freeze is always possible, because it means that we have to live within our means and not live outside the resources that we have. What was the second part of the question? I'm sure certain you said.
Second part of the question was, please tell us how you propose to accomplish this task, as well as the fiscal stability and economic growth to our borough.
Okay, thank you very much. We have to live, as I said, within our means to make sure that the hiring practices, the personnel practices are fair, equitable, to make sure that we hire competent officials or professional services, to make sure that, again, we keep in mind that our budget is not a slush fund, it's not for special interest groups, but it's representing the entire borough of Roselle. Can it be frozen? Yes, it can. That would be an action that would have to be taken by council. We'd have to tighten our belt and make sure that there's no fat. And there's generally fat in a lot of budgets, but we want to make sure that we're living lean. I'm a lean person myself, so I think that we can also propose lean budgets as well. I want to
10 seconds.
10 seconds. I also want to do a reassessment of our entire borough, which has not been reassessed since 1985. That will bring our property valuation to what it is today. It should have been reevaluated at 85, 90, but it has not been, and so I propose to do that.
Thank you. And for closing comments, Mr. Aubourg, you have 1 minute.
First, I'd like to thank you for coming out. Thanks to Mark and Kerry Castro, Mark Hilton, and Mohammed for taping it. The question was about freezing taxes. If I can stand here and tell you I'm going to freeze your taxes, don't vote me in. There is nobody that can freeze taxes. What you can do, you can stabilize taxes by bringing economic redevelopment in the goal. As we can see, Roselle have high taxes because we don't have enough businesses. In order for you to balance the budget, you need to bring more businesses that we lack of to have them pay some of the taxes, not just the resident. And then going back on the Board of Ed, where we didn't have tax increases, I can say that was not true. I was part of the Board of Ed at that time. And then,
Raise my hand, that'll be 10 seconds.
Yeah, and then at that time, we put $4 million on the side that Governor Christie just took away from Roselle. We really suffered by that action. We put money on the side, the governor came in and took that money.
Thank you. Okay, next question. When I motion you just one thing I forgot to mention, that'll be about 15 seconds. So when I wave my hand and say hello. All right, you have 15 seconds to wrap it up. This next question, second question, is going out to Ms. Aubourg. You are currently the finance chair. Would you please describe the state of Roselle finances within the past year? Once again, you are currently the finance chair. Would you please describe the state of Roselle finances within the past year?
Thank you. That's a great question. Yes, I'm the finance chair. And under my watch, the first thing I did is to cut the uncontrollable spending. We had a board that was out of control. Money was going out left and right. We had people on payroll that we didn't even know. If you remember clearly, 2 years ago, we tried to merge our finance department with Roselle Park because we have issues there. We have the CFO, we didn't report to us, refuses to report to us. We had employees that didn't know what they were doing, so we're trying to correct that issue. So with the staff by the mayor's group, they went to Roselle Park, make a big mess out of it, so we kept our people in. But when we let Mr. Mapp go, because he couldn't do the job, and then he's trying to sue us and he lost the lawsuit, and then we hired Mrs. Wendy Wednesday. Yes, we did hire Wendy based on our conversations. She knew what she was doing, but when she came on board, the prior CFO destroyed all the documents at the board, which is against the law, and he's going to pay for it. Believe me. He destroyed everything. There was no computer record on everything. When I put the budget together, I had to go back from scratch to every department head. Thank God I'm a certified public manager. I understand budget. I know how to do budget. and then I really handle it very well. The finance of this board is in good shape. The reason I said that, this year, at the only time, the governor was going to give us $250,000 for state aid. The reason we didn't get that money, because we didn't get an increase of $250. The criteria to get that raise, that fund, you have to have an increase of $250 per household. Because we didn't increase that taxes that high, he took the money away. And then the other thing I have to everybody to understand, we oversees by the state. Anything that goes on in Roselle is reviewed by the state. So your budget is reviewed by the state. If it's no good, they're not going to approve it.
Thank you, Mr. Aubourg. 1 minute, Mr. Moore.
Yes, as a former construction loan bank officer, I was responsible to monitor and maintain a $323 million portfolio at National State Bank, which was the oldest bank in the state of New Jersey, third oldest bank in the nation. Under my opponent, Mr. Aubourg's watch, as the finance chair, they hired Ms. Wolstein as a CFO, and the recently appointed business administrator, Mr. Dave Brown, who Mr. Aubourg and the majority have appointed. Mr. Dave Brown admitted that the borough CFO, Ms. Wolstein, who mysteriously resigned last month in April, has not processed any bank reconciliations, updated the general ledger, documented pension monies, or payroll transactions since July of 2010. Today's tax dollars were funneled out of Roselle to hire unnecessary attorneys, engineers, and other professional services without explanation or regard to the public concern.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Next question. Next question is to Mr. Moore, Reverend Moore. If you were elected, would you be willing to work with the mayor and not listen to outside influences? Once again, if you were elected, will you be willing to work with the mayor and not listen to outside influences?
I work with everyone because it's our community. It's not a splinter group's community. It's not the lefts or the rights. It's not the Democrats or the Republicans. It's not the independents. It's everyone's community. Once we're elected to office, we are duty bound to serve the entire community. Could you repeat the other part of the question, please?
The question was, if you were elected, will you be willing to work with the mayor and not listen to outside influences?
Right. And when I was on the Board of Education, we actually worked together collaboratively with the council as Board of Education and Borough Council. We were going to build a brand new school for the preschool, all-day kindergarten. We were going to build a state-of-the-art track and football field. Also improve Sylvester Land Field. Bring out all of our special services from St. Joseph's and bring all of our services there into our facilities for no new money. That meant no increase to the tax dollars because the $626,000 that we had been spending to rent facilities in Roselle, St. George, James and Elizabeth, St. Joe's over in Roselle, as well as the warehouse that you stored, where we store the materials, we would have been able to now finance all of those with no new money, no additional taxes over a 30-year period of time.
Thank you. 1 minute, Mr. Aubourg.
Yes, if you're elected, are you willing to work with the mayor? Yes, I did prove that I can work with Mayor Smith, even I disagree with him on a lot of issues. One of the things that I really been proud of is to bring Mr. Dave Brown back as a business administrator. During the past 4 years after Mr. Dave was fired, this town has not been run by nobody. As you know, Mayor Smith tried to be the BA. As you know, people like other council members tried to run the board without no qualification. And then my job was to reach out to the mayor to tell him, this is your appointment, you need to appoint somebody, and then we'll have to make consensus. Dave is the only one that can tell us the state of this board. And then that's why we brought Dave Brown back. And then the other question, special interest. The word special interest means a lot of things. If you affiliated with the Democratic Party, that's not special interest. That work with your party and work with your elected official at the county level and state level, because they are the one with more money than us, and we have to work with them to funnel more money for you as a taxpayer.
Thank you. Next question. Okay, this to address to Mr. Aubourg. How do you plan to enlighten the residents about the sudden departure of the CFO, and how can you justify paying her until August? And what are you going to get? When are you going to get the results of the audit? Since you held up one signature.
Thank you. The first part, yes, Mrs. Winston is no longer working for Roselle. Like I said at many meetings and many times to many of you, I want to be accountable for my job. When we hired Mrs. Winston, she said she could do this gray pen and fix it. At the end of the day, the pen is still not fixed, so we shook hands. She's no longer working for Roselle. But the difference, I don't encourage Mrs. Winston to sue us. What we did, we sat down with her, we showed her her deficiencies, and then we told her we can no longer work together. So on the advice of our legal department, we signed an agreement where she get paid for a vacation, a sick times, and then whatever extra things she had in her contract. Instead of her suing us, we signed a contract for her to walk away, and then we can take over our finance department. And there's other issues that I cannot be in detail with you because the legal contract I cannot get into. Regarding the audit, yes, the audit is a repeat of last year's audit. I'm not afraid of saying that. It's the same repeat. We didn't have a business administrator running the borough. Again, we didn't have a business administrator running the borough. Most of the issues came from different departments regarding the same thing that happened the year before. So therefore, that's why Mrs. Winston is no longer there. And that's why we hired Mr. Dave to correct those issues. And in the ledger that Reverend Moore referred to, it's nothing new. Even when Mr. Ken Brown was there, he still had issues with the ledger. Just go back to the 3 or 4 years audit and then review them. They were not under my leadership, but we still have the repeat. And then like I said, we need to fix them and then we're working toward fixing them. The thing that we had is a vacuum when you have an administration that refused to do their work. When you took the administration to court to appoint people to do their job. Because one of the things, you cannot have council members with no experience, no leadership to run your board. And that's what's been going on.
Thank you. 1 minute, Reverend Moore.
Yes, at the May 18th Roselle Borough regular meeting, Mr. Aubourg's running mate, council man at large, Jamel Holly, stated Wendy Wolstein had to go. She was not doing a good job. Ms. Wolstein was brought in by Mr. Aubourg and Mr. Holly, along with 2 other majority members, and she said that she could not work with the United system. She wanted to bring in the Edmund system. So they brought in the Edmund system. They paid $15,000. Then she couldn't work with that. It was never used. It's found it was never used then. They brought in the new business administrator, Mr. David Brown, and then he had to bring in the Unidex system again, paying another $15,000. Coming to find out that Ms. Wolstein was incompetent, didn't know how to use either system.
Thank you, Reverend Moore. Next question, if you've been keeping track, the next question is going to be addressed to Reverend Moore. This question, Reverend Moore, what is your idea for the golf course? Once again, what is your idea for the golf course? 2 minutes.
Yes, the golf course can be used for mixed uses. I think that we're not taking advantage of the resources that we have in the golf course. It can be made public. Right now, it's a private golf course. Everyone can't use it. It hasn't been utilized or made to be available to be utilized by the public since, I believe, its inception. But there can be a driving range there. There can be a pitch and putt range there. It can be open to the public. We can also utilize a swimming pool, even close it to have an outdoor or indoor or both swimming pools that are going to attract people to utilize the facilities for recreation. In addition, I believe that we should create an adult community with the backdrop of the golf course. The golf course still remains, but an adult community where we don't have to bring in 1,500 units that are going to bring in approximately 3,000 additional students into the district of Roselle. but you're going to take our taxes through the roof. But adult community would be ages 55 and above, which have no children, therefore would not necessitate building new schools. And besides that, they're more settled. Their lifestyle is kind of a way that is conservative, not so not so wasteful in cost and maintenance, and so I believe that it can be used for multiple purposes, especially to bring income into the borough of Roselle. It's an income-producing property that should be made public and not private.
Thank you. 1 minute, Mr. Aubourg.
Again, the difference between Reverend Moore and myself is experience on economic development, and then Councilman Ali, who does that for a living also. As a redeveloper, we cannot really impose on them what they want. If they're buying a property for $9 million, they've got their way to go to the zoning board or the planning board to change the ordinances to do what they want to do. The only thing you can do with them is to work a comprehensive redevelopment plan that you add to what they want or reduce on what they want to do. You cannot tell them, I want it to be private. This is not our property. And then I remember at one of the meetings where Reverend was saying, we should buy that 60 acres to leave it open to the public. Where we're going to get our $300,000 taxes that we're getting on it now. The county approached the owner and wanted to sell it to the county. We stopped the county doing that because if the county really get that land, it's going to be green acres and we're losing our money. Our job is to work with the redeveloper and then to reduce the number of units and then to encourage him to invest in Roselle. And that's what we're working on.
Thank you, Mr. Aubourg. Next question. This will be addressed to Mr. Aubourg. You have 2 minutes. Actually, okay. Little intermission. All right. Now, what have you done in the past 3 years for the first ward? Once again, this particular question asks, what have you done for the first ward in the past 3 years? 2 minutes.
Thank you, that's a good question. What we've done in the first ward, which was never done before, we got some wood improvements on Thompson Avenue. I'm taking full credit and encourage the council to repave that. We have Sheridan Avenue, that's next. We did part of Sheridan by the seniors housing. We work closely with the neighborhood watch. I know Kerry said at the beginning that's the only active neighborhood watch. No, that's 2 of them. There's one on Drake Avenue also. And then at the last meeting, the police department said there are 4 active neighborhood watch in the first ward. Also, we work with the police department to increase the quality of life issues. I was a proponent of having 3 police officers instead of calling the department. Those officers are patrolling the first ward, and then with that we have less crime. On the first ward we got also the repavement of the sidewalk, and then we got some pothole issues, the trees issues. And then also, within the last 2 years, under my leadership, we have some issues that were not addressed before, that addressing now, where we got the quality of life issues with the Department of Health. We're coming, and in all the foreclosed houses, they're being addressed, where they cut the grass. The only issue that I know people really trying to make a big deal out of it is the ward meeting. Yes, I stopped the ward meeting. The reason it's only 4 people that used to come here to the ward meeting, and then only those 4 people, when they came, they had the same question, and then nobody else came. And then the issues are addressed to my cell phone, to my emails. During the snowstorm, I was visible, not only driving my truck on the road, but have them coming here and cleaning up. And then the other thing also that we never had in the first ward is a councilman that's visible that I walk the street, talk to the neighborhoods, and things like that never happened before.
Thank you, Mr. Aubourg. The 1 minute response.
Yes, as a resident of the first ward, I have never been informed of or invited to any first ward meetings. Since my Honor Mr. Aubourg has been councilperson, I don't recall having a single ward meeting. Through my civic association, I've held several meetings already at the Oak Park Apartments as well as Ways Buffet, and met with residents, and it's been very informative to give them information regarding health and services, health, public safety. We've talked about establishing neighborhood watch programs. We've dealt with hospitalization, we've dealt with nursing home applications, we've dealt with all types of things, just on a local basis, not as an official, but as just a local resident with my civic association. So with the first ward, I really haven't seen anything to happen by our council.
Thank you. Next question is addressed to Reverend Moore. Okay, why are my taxes so high? Again, let me repeat. Why are my taxes so high? 2 minutes.
Taxes are high federally, statewide, countywide, and locally. What we cannot control are the federal, the state, and the county taxes. What we can control are the local taxes. The wasteful spending that's been happening, for example, last year in 2010, we asked the council, the majority of the council, why are you hiring 17 attorneys for the borough of Roselle? We've got no answer. We wait till the end of the meeting hoping that they would respond to tell us why they were hiring 17 attorneys at the cost of approximately $150 to $195 an hour. This year, the majority of the council hired 12 attorneys. For a borough that's 2.5 miles square, why do we need 12 attorneys? Again, we're not getting any answers. But yet, there are a number of architects that are hired, there are a number of civil engineers that are hired, engineering firms, lawyers, and it's just a lot of wasteful spending. That needs to be controlled, and so because of the wasteful spending and because of, I believe, political favors that are being paid back to people, we're being neglected and denied here in our own borough, and our taxes are going through the roof. We have not reassessed our property since 1985, and so therefore a person that has bought a house in 1985, or if your valuation was $350,000 in 1985, the best you will get today is approximately $150,000 to $190,000. No matter how beautiful your home, your property is, how much you put into it, because of several things, the national climate, because of the state climate, and because of the local climate. Right now, there are people that are paying in Roselle approximately $9,000 to $12,000 to $13,000. There's a woman on Drake Avenue at 6 that lives on a lot that was approximately 50 by 75, paying $14,000 a year. She walked away from her home. 520 houses in Roselle are currently under foreclosure proceedings.
Thank you, Reverend Moore. 1 minute. Once again, the question is, why are our taxes, or why is my taxes so high? 1 minute, Mr. Aubourg.
All right. Unlike my opponent, Reverend Moore, I do pay taxes like you. I feel your pain. When I'm writing my check, I feel your pain. The reason I bought that, Reverend Moore can bring everything to the table, but when Reverend Moore was the president of the Board of Ed, he hired somebody with no qualification for $152,000. It's really sad Roselle has suffered under his leadership, and they put $4 million on the side that the government took away from you. That's one of the reasons your taxes are high. The other reason, when we moved to Roselle, at one point, Roselle used to be suburban for New York City residents. They refused to bring businesses to Roselle. That's one of the main reasons. If you go back, ask me, Mr. Forley, he will tell you, Roselle used to be suburban with no businesses. Without the commercial base that our team is trying to bring, Jamal Harvey, myself, and Randy, we're not going to have stabilization of the taxes. That's why we encourage redevelopment. That's why we need to bring new business in Roselle instead of chasing them out like the administration has been doing for the past 8 years. There's no new business in Roselle. Nobody as a mayor can stand down here and tell you you have the new business here.
Thank you.
I was part of that redevelopment on the first ward.
Okay. Thank you. Next question is for Mr. Aubourg. It says, What will you change in the first ward? Again, what will you change in the first ward? You have 2 minutes.
What would I change in the first ward? The first ward is one of the beautiful area in the borough with the park. What we change is improving the streets. We got a lot of streets without curbing, and then we're working on the plan to bring that. We already bought a new redevelopment on the First Avenue. That's a lot of people here maybe didn't remember 5 years ago when I was the first urban enterprise zone coordinator. That was one of the projects that I worked on. It's to bring business back to Roselle. As you bring in more businesses, you're gonna have more attraction, and then you're gonna stabilize your taxes. What you will change in Roselle also is trying to stabilize the taxes, then your foreclosures won't be as high. I'm a member of the task force in Union County. The foreclosure issue is everywhere. It's because the unemployment is at very high in Roselle, not only in Roselle, in the county, in the state. So as we bring in more businesses, we can hire more people, they can have more jobs, and they can stay in their house. And then that's what I will do. Continue with the improvement of this borough, and then mostly on the first ward, bringing more business along St. George, and then we consider the redevelopment of this borough, because that's what's going to bring new tax readable, and then that's what's going to balance the budget. Thank you.
1 minute, Reverend Moore.
Yes, I would bring the first ward's needs and concerns to the council table. Not the party's needs, not the party's concerns, but the first ward's needs and concerns. And those concerns will be on the council agenda. I also propose to have bi-monthly ward meetings and put it in strategic locations such as Waves Buffet, right here at this church, down Oak Park, as well as Aldridge Park apartments, so that we can get a good cross-section of the entire ward. We know that there aren't facilities that would be local to everyone to attend. The entire first ward attended here would be running over. So we're going to break it up into sections and meet with the ward and have the ward's needs and concerns on the council table. And I'll just be persistent. And if the ward's not heard, then I'll tell the ward that council persons aren't voting for your agenda, and we'll have to show up at the meetings and express our sentiments and concerns.
Thank you, Reverend Moore. Okay, next question. This is our 9th question, just if you're keeping track. Our next question is addressed to Reverend Moore. If elected, how will you bring the majority of the council to vote for your agendas? Again, it says, if elected, how will you bring the majority of the council to vote for your agendas?
Okay, first of all, it would not be my agenda, but it would be our agenda, the borough. But primarily because I represent the first ward, I have to bring the first ward's concerns to the table. How to do that, I have to express to them as best as I can what the real needs are, show them how people are really hurting by not making those decisions, and showing how it will also hurt the rest of our borough by not making those decisions. It's not about fighting each other. It's not about being argumentative. It's not about being disagreeable, but it's about just sitting down and reasoning and treating each other with dignity and with respect, because we all have a life, and we all have families, and we all have pride in what we do. And it's not about insulting one another, but it's about building for the betterment of Roselle.
Thank you, Reverend Moore. 1 minute, Ms. Aubourg.
Interesting question. What would you do if you have the majority? You don't have the majority. Unfortunately, I have to tell you, Reverend Moore quit the Board of Ed when he didn't have the majority. Myself, I was on the Board of Ed even in a minority. But you don't really need to bring the majority to do what you want. As a minority, you can bring something good to the table. When Reverend Moore came back to town and he quit the Board of Ed after you elected him, that's really hurt the board, because you create a vacancy and then you create like somebody that doesn't want to work in a minority, who always want to be in charge. Myself, I work as a minority and I brought things to the table, and I refuses to work to hire Mr. Webster with no experience. Reverend Moore as a president came with 5 votes, hired him for $152,000. Just take that home. Somebody with no experience was hired and cost you taxpayers money. And there were $4 million left on the side, I don't know for what, the governor took it. Those are the track record, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Aubourg. Reminder again, we're just addressing the issues and questions. This is not any type of debate, no type of attacks, personal attacks or hostility, just as a reminder. And just to show you the fairness, these were two questions that were submitted towards Mr. Aubourg, and they were already answered by him, so just so that those people don't feel like you were neglected or that your questions were not asked, they were answered. The one question was what happened to the monthly meetings. Mr. Aubourg did address that already, so as my witness, and you all can see, I'm putting that question to the side because that was already answered. And the other one happened to deal with the CFO. The question was also addressed to Mr. Aubourg, and both Mr. Aubourg and Reverend Moore also answered those questions earlier, and they addressed it. And as of right now, it seems to work out perfectly. This is the 10th and final question, the last index card, and it is addressed to Mr. Aubourg. It says, Mr. Aubourg, it says, on your palm card, you emphasize that you paid, I cannot read the exact figure, it looks like 9,000 in taxes, unlike your opponent. But your running mate, Mr. Holly, pays no taxes. What is your position on that? I'm just reading the question again.
That's fine, that's fine.
Yeah, 2
First
minutes.
of all,
Thank you.
First of all, Mr. Holly does pay taxes. He's a renter. As a renter, when you pay your monthly payment, you pay taxes. If the taxes goes to your commercial or residential, they pass it to the resident. So he does pay taxes. Yes, I do pay not 9,000, it's over $8,000. And then I said, unlike my opponent, he doesn't pay taxes. Yes, Reverend Moore lives on a church house, he doesn't pay taxes, and that's why I make sure the residents do understand the taxpayer and the non-taxpayer. Because taxpayer will be caring about the budget, about every penny, but won't put $4 million on the side or won't hire somebody with no experience. Yes, I did hire Mrs. Westing. She had all her qualifications. She had a CFO license, and then we hired her for $90,000. And like when Mr. Mack was hired, not only for $90,000, they didn't have no license, they have nothing. They give him a $30,000 increase, ladies and gentlemen. Before he left with $120,000 with no experience. That's the difference. And I'm not afraid of saying that because the line that going around town is people want to betray me as somebody that has special interest. I don't have no special interest. Everywhere I work is because of my knowledge. And then I told everybody, I teach my kids to be educated. If you're educated, you can work anywhere, any place, any countries, because people are going to respect you for your education.
Thank you. 1 minute, Reverend Moore.
Yes, thank you. They take taxes out of my checks every week. And I also work a part-time job driving the school bus for autistic children. They take taxes out of my check every week there too. But St. Joseph's, Hurt AME, Second Baptist Church, all of the churches, as we know, are tax exempt. But what we do in saving taxes is to help to reduce the crime rate by people that are contemplating hurting someone, murdering someone. We spend countless hours counseling people. We convince people to not consider committing suicide. We disarm all types of turbulence when people are thinking about having fights or gang wars and things like that. And we spend countless hours that are saving the taxpayers a major burden in police work, incarceration. We counsel them. It's even saving marriages and lives so that people can get gainful employment, be balanced, and bring taxes into the borough so that the borough can thrive. So we are making a major contribution, which you don't see physically, but you see the results of what we do as churches. Thank you.
Thank you a little bit more. Now, once again, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes all of our questions. We were fortunate enough that all the questions ran right into time. If there are any further questions, I'm pretty sure that you can set arrangements to ask the questions to either one of the candidates. But as of right now, our first award questioning and information session will come to a close. And once again, round of applause, please, for Mr. Aubourg and Rev. Moore. And also round of applause for all you ladies and gentlemen, because as we look out here, obviously our main concern is our streets and our ward. And closing statement by my wife. I anyone's interested in starting a neighborhood watch, then you can come see my wife as well. But again, once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Can I ask a question?
We actually, technically, we cannot allow you to answer the question. No, it had to be, but whether quick or long, you have to take your time, and when the two candidates do come down, you please respect the format of tonight. So once they are done, then you can more than welcome to ask them all of the questions that you would like. But right now, we give everybody the opportunity in the beginning, and we even, if you remember, we extended another 5 minutes. We asked everybody to please write all your possible questions down, as many questions as you needed to on the index cards. Again, I don't mean to cut anyone off, but just to be fair to everyone, I'm pretty sure everyone else has plenty of other questions. But as far as our session tonight, once again, we'd like to thank everybody for coming out and for supporting our question and answering forum. Thank you very much. Well, hold on one second. Ladies and gentlemen, we will allow for a closing statement from both candidates. It is on the mark here, so you have 1 minute. We have to do the 1 minute, Mr. Aubourg. So 1 minute for a closing statement, Mr. Aubourg. Yes.
Again, I just want to thank you for coming out. It was nice to see many faces here. It's something that we promote in government is transparency. And then to tell you the truth, I reached out to Carrie because when I was running the first time for the ward, she did a round table like this. I reached out to her, I said, reach out to everyone more. Let's do the same thing because I believe in transparency because we are nothing without you. We cannot do nothing on the council if you guys don't vote us in. That's why I wanted to have the debate. I want you to do your homework, your diligence regarding the background about somebody that's been elected, who've been over the past 2 years where I lost my wife. I could just quit and walk away. I stay in. My opponent himself quit 3 times the Board of Ed, walk away 3 times. This is the commitment that I have for you. When I'm elected, I will finish my term in either in a tough or bad situation. I still will finish my term, no matter what. Thank you again for coming out.
1 minute closing statement, Reverend Moore.
My mother passed away in September the 3rd last year. She taught me never to quit, and I never will. And I do everything that I do because I'm standing on the shoulders of great people that are in my family as well as in my neighborhood. I'm a lifelong resident of Roselle, been here for 58 years, married 35 years to my sweetheart Margaret. That's in the back there. I'm a parent of 5 accomplished young adults. I pastor a 120-year-old church, Second Baptist of approximately 350 to 400 members, graduate of Abraham Clark High School, graduate of Trent State College. I have an engineering degree at Trent State College. I was elected 5 times to the Roselle Board of Education, 2-term board president. I'm proposing a 2-year local tax freeze, and also I propose to lead the charge in getting the entire borough of Roselle reassessed, which hasn't been reassessed since 1985. Thank you very much, Carrie and Mark, for having us here. And what you didn't mention, Carrie, that you were a masterful school teacher at Harrison School, but you should have said something about it. We miss you being a school teacher over there. God bless you.
Thank you. Once again, ladies and gentlemen,